In a moment, we will witness the story and sinking of the Titanic. We'll see the moment of impact from inside the ship. We'll examine the iceberg that sank the Titanic and the real traces it left behind. Then, through an experiment, we'll learn what happened to those who fell into the freezing waters and follow the facts wherever they lead. The sound you just heard was the actual distress signal sent from the Titanic. Messages for help were transmitted via telegraph using Morse code to nearby ships. The Titanic had begun to sink slowly. At the telegraph station stood a young man, 25-year-old Jack Phillips. He refused to leave his post until the communication room was completely flooded. He acted heroically until the very end, but his efforts, sadly, were in vain. The Titanic would not be discovered again until 73 years after it sank. And everything would begin with the discovery of the wreck. The mysterious story of the Titanic, it all began long ago, in 1912. Over a century ago, newspapers proudly announced in bold headlines, "The Titanic set sail on its maiden voyage." Alongside the headline were images of the ship and ticket prices. The story of the Titanic was, in fact, born from a rivalry. The transatlantic passenger trade was booming. Companies competed to transport both the wealthy and immigrants across the ocean. Two major lines dominated this race: White Star Line and Cunard. Cunard planned two ships that would break speed records crossing the Atlantic. White Star Line, on the other hand, chose a different strategy. Instead of building faster ships, they would build larger, more luxurious, and more comfortable ones. In 1908, White Star Line gathered a virtual army of mostly Irish workers to create something revolutionary: the largest, most opulent passenger liner ever conceived. Their motto was simple: "We may not be the fastest, but who wants to cross an ocean while seasick?" Their goal was clear: to dominate travel between Europe and America within 5 years. First came the RMS Olympic, the largest ship the world had ever seen, weighing 45,000 tons and capable of carrying over 1,000 passengers. Soon after, their true masterpiece was launched, RMS Titanic. Built by nearly 14,000 people, her launch drew a crowd of 200,000 spectators. Those who saw her enter the water said it felt as if the earth itself was moving. For the people of that time, the Titanic was a wonder beyond imagination. Just one of its anchors weighed 15 tons. Inside, it was filled with the most exquisite furnishings money could buy. Some criticized this obsession with luxury, saying the money should have gone to technology and safety instead. While other shipbuilders were experimenting with four-propeller designs for greater maneuverability, White Star Line chose not to pursue technological innovation. On April 10, 1912, the Titanic departed England on her maiden voyage to New York under the command of Captain Edward Smith. Before leaving port, they were warned of possible icebergs along the southern route, a routine message at the time. At 9:30 p.m., a ship ahead of them, the Masaba, radioed that it had sighted large icebergs. But the message never reached the bridge. The radio operators, Phillips and Harold Bride, were too busy sending personal telegrams for first-class passengers, a paid service that took priority. The air grew colder, as if death itself was nearby. The sea lay still as glass. High up in the ship's crow's nest, two lookouts took turns scanning the horizon every 2 hours. Near midnight, one of them spotted a vague shape ahead, barely visible in the darkness. It was an iceberg. Lookout Frederick Fleet rang the warning bell 3 times and phoned the bridge. First Officer Murdoch ordered, "Hard to starboard," turning the wheel to avoid collision, but it was too late. The Titanic's massive body couldn't turn in time. Only 37 seconds later, At 11:40 p.m., the ship struck the iceberg on its starboard side. The ice tore through the hull like a razor blade, buckling steel plates and popping rivets loose. 5 watertight compartments began flooding instantly, about 400 tons of water per minute. Captain Smith called for the ship's designer, Thomas Andrews, who soon confirmed their worst fear. The Titanic was doomed. The captain ordered lifeboats prepared and commanded women and children first. Panic spread. Meanwhile, the radio operators began sending Morse distress signals to nearby ships. Only 32 kilometers away, the SS Californian had stopped for the night due to heavy ice. Its operator, Evans, had earlier tried to warn the Titanic, but an overworked Phillips had snapped back, "Shut up, I'm busy working." Later, Captain Smith personally ordered them to send distress calls. The Carpathia was the first to respond, but it was 4 hours away. The Titanic had only 2 hours left. The Californian's crew saw FLI